All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Gunner Technology Livestream, a weekly tech talk for non-techies and techies alike. I'm your host, Dave Merkins. With me is CEO of Gunner Technology, Cody Swan. What's going on, Cody?
Not much. Just checking out the name of the guy we were talking about before.
Yeah, we were talking
the
about
pre-roll.
Periscope Down, a classic 90s, terrible 90s comedy. I forgot Rob Schneider was in that. You know, Rob Schneider, who was also in Home Alone 2, and my brother's in town. We just watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2 back-to-back nights, and they're the exact same movie. They didn't even try to make Home Alone 2 any different, but the only major difference is the fact that in Home Alone 1, Old Man Marley is kind of redeemed. Like, he gets back together with his family at the end. So he has like a little bit of like a conclusion to his story. At the end of Home Alone 2, the pigeon lady is still just the pigeon lady. Except she has a turtle dove.
That's right. But she goes and sees her daughter, right? Or something at the end?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
She's not hugging someone at the end when Kevin runs out?
She's hugging Kevin at the end.
Gosh, I thought, because Kevin runs out to see her at the very end.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she's just the pigeon lady.
Huh. Well, maybe
except she gets a turtle dove. I think she's happy being a pigeon lady.
And they fumigate Carnegie Hall and kick her out.
Well, that's what I thought. She would get like a job at Carnegie Hall or maybe the toy store, and there was like the hotel would give her a room and set her up, and she could have like a second chance. But she's just the pigeon lady.
The lesson there is there's not always second chances, ladies and gentlemen. It's a movie for millennials.
Yeah, Home Alone 2 was the greatest product. It was just an ad for the Talk Boy?
The Talk Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which everyone ran out and got.
So great. And it didn't do anything like it was supposed to do. Like nothing.
Tried so many fraudulent charges.
Because you had to,
it never worked.
What it doesn't show you in the movie is that Kevin is pushing on the case to slow down the tape. Like, I always thought the Talk Boy had like a feature where you could like automatically slow down your voice, like put it in slow-mo. But what he's doing in the movie is just pushing against the cassette holder to slow it down as it's playing back.
That's how he was slowing it down.
Yes.
Well, what false advertising.
I know. That Talk Boy.
Not false advertising is our Country Shore giveaway, which everyone can sign up for on our Facebook page. Country Shore Outfitters is a lifestyle brand for anyone who loves the outdoors. You can visit them at countryshoreoutfitters.com. The winner this week is John T. from Tampa, Florida. So, John, you've got a Country Shore hat heading your way along with copies of our ebooks. And anyone who didn't win this week can sign up on our Facebook page. And while you're on our Facebook page, go ahead and answer our question of the week, which last week, what was the question, Cody?
It was, what was the biggest marketing ripoff, the Power Glove or the Talk Boy? Which it wasn't.
The Talk Boy. It had to be the Talk Boy.
The Power Glove was pure awfulness too. Like, there was no
but
game.
You could at least you could pretend. You could make believe with a Power Glove.
Yes, you could. And that of course was the marketing gimmick from the Wizard, where he's like, "Oh, he's got the glove."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We were such dupes back then. My goodness.
Oh, I know. Capitalism at its finest in the late 80s, early 90s. But it was, how have you or do you plan on buying Christmas gifts online this year? Which we admitted it was a bad question, but someone said no. So or at least a couple people said no, because it's like hovering around like 2% said no. So a couple people said no.
Okay. It's interesting.
Shop local.
I mean, more power to them. Good for them. I don't know what you can. I guess you can buy a lot of stuff local.
Yeah.
Support your local retailer.
Jenga set, a custom-made Jenga set.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's the gift that keeps on giving. I will say that although I have bought a lot of books locally, so I guess that kind of counts as shopping locally. It wasn't at like a minor retailer though, but I think the vast majority of my shopping has been done online. The vast majority.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't do Black Friday. Did you do Black Friday?
Did I do? Yes, I did a few things on Black Friday. I got a couple gifts on Black Friday, like those. I got someone one of those robot vacuum cleaner things.
The Roomba?
No, it's not a Roomba. Like, apparently, a Roomba is like going off name recognition only now. Apparently, like their technology actually sucks. the one I got can mop and vac, which I guess Roombas can't do, and it's integrated with Alexa, so you can be like, Alexa, clean my floors.
Wow.
I know.
I'm not sure.
Is that Alexa?
That was her. That was her chiming in.
I don't want to clean your floors right now, David. Did you get a waffle bot?
Oh my gosh, I wish I got a waffle bot. That would be just an amazing thing. Like, was it Kumar who falls in? No, it's Harold who. No, it's Kumar.
No, it's Kumar. It's Kumar.
Yeah, who falls
Kumar
in love
and the waffle
with
bot become best friends. And
That's
then
right.
the waffle bot. That movie is just pure insanity.
I love you, Kumar. The waffle bot dies.
Dies while they're tied to a pole. That whole, oh my gosh, that movie is just 90 minutes of nonsense. Speaking of 90 minutes of nonsense, or in this case, 30 minutes of nonsense, the topic of, or actually, you need to tell them what the question is next week.
Oh yeah, it's are you getting anyone, or have you gotten anyone something that you could consider a techie gift for Christmas? And if so, what? The reason I ask that is because we get all those.
Because you're trying to get gift ideas.
Yeah, right. I really need gift ideas. But no, we get all those solicitations on HARO, which is where they send out an email where like newspapers and other media outlets, if they need expert sources, they send out like a newsletter to a bunch of people in the industry asking for help on like to be part of like a story or be a source in a story. And everything's like they're asking like tech gadget guides for Christmas and stuff like that. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, what are the big tech gadgets? I know I've seen a ton of Amazon stuff sort of blowing up.
The big, I don't know. I'm trying to think what would be a big one. Alexa is a big one.
Yeah.
She's going to come on again. You know, like it's everywhere now. Like
Formerly known as Pepsi Max Big One.
Yeah.
Is a steel roller coaster located at Black.
She's telling me about a steam roller coaster. Yeah, a steam roller coaster.
Thanks, Alexa.
Yes, it did, Alexa. Thank you very much.
That's good. Don't make her feel bad. She's trying so
right.
hard.
I don't know that.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, but the A word is very popular right now. They're embedding it in everything. Like you can get like a smoke detector with the A word embedded, and so I guess you could be like, "Shmushmexa, am I on fire?" I mean, I don't really know what the point of having her embedded in a smoke detector is, but you can get everything comes with her now. Microwaves, by the way, come with Shmushmexa embedded in them. Refrigerators. So
yeah.
That's one of the big tech guides. Apple Watches are kind of a big one this year. What else have I seen that have been pretty big? I like the robot vacuum cleaners are pretty big.
There's no console launch this Christmas. That's usually like the big gift to get. Which
Yeah.
I think probably next year, maybe 2020 will be the next the PS5 and I think it's called Xbox. Is it called Xbox 2? The next Xbox?
I think so. You think that'll be in time for the 2019 Christmas or 2020 Christmas?
Yeah, which is going to be huge.
Wait, which one? Do you think it's gonna be 2020 or?
I think it's gonna be 2020 will be the next console launch.
Okay, so not next year, but the following year.
Yeah, they might try and get it out next year. It'd be like if it was an arms race and PlayStation got its Gen 5 console out first, that'd be huge.
Yeah, I hope they rush it and there's just awful glitches with the VR in both of them.
Yeah, that's the big thing they're going to be VR sort of first, those consoles.
Right on.
That's the wave of the future, really.
Does Xbox One have a VR attachment like the PS4?
I don't think it has a native one. I think it integrates with
Oculus Rift.
I think I'm not sure it's Oculus though. I think it integrates with one of the other ones. But PS4 definitely has a native VR headset. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I actually have it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I got it for Christmas last year, and I've used it twice, and it is pretty cool. I played the demo disc finally 2 days ago.
Nice,
and
nice.
it's like the robot running around.
Yeah. There's one where you can like take an underwater tour where you're just in a cage looking at fish.
Oh, I didn't do that one. I did the one where the robot is saving other little robots, and you're like in a mountainside, and like I've skydived before. I'm not afraid of heights or anything like that, but I looked down off the cliff and I felt like sick. It's so really, really real.
It's very disconcerting.
Yeah.
the best games for VR are horror games because it's legitimately terrifying.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to put a good VR game on my wish list.
Yeah, maybe somebody will get it for you for a gift.
Yeah,
we'll see. Well, whenever they get released, the PS5 and the Xbox 2, they're going to have a ton of marketing behind it, which happens to be our topic today, which is how to market your idea. So this is part 7. We've got a lot of good feedback on the Entrepreneur Series. A lot of people have said it's super helpful. So hopefully this episode is also helpful. I guess, where do you want to start?
Send us any residuals from your, if you make $1 bajillion on your entrepreneurial endeavors.
A little something for the effort.
That's right.
So today's topic is how to market your idea. I guess we've talked about it sort of, it feels like we talked about it in just about every episode because it really is just about the most important thing you can do when you're launching your product is to have a solid marketing strategy in place before you sort of go live to a wide audience.
Yeah, and it really kind of depends on what type of application or what type of platform or whatever you're building. So meaning we throw out the initials all the time, B2B or B2C. So if it's like a business to business type platform or application, the marketing is much more different than if it's like a B2C type application. And even further, the marketing would change dramatically based on what type of platform or application is. So for example, a B2C type application would be like Todoist, something to track your basic to-do lists and things like that. And they charge you for extras and stuff like that. That's B2C, business to consumer. But so is Facebook. Facebook is B2C. But they don't charge you anything. They make money from basically advertising advertising to you or selling advertisers the ability to advertise to you. So obviously those types of marketing strategies would be completely different. For the one, if you're kind of doing a Todoist type application, you want to show the utility of the application and, kind of the benefits of it. And you're not going to have a salesperson calling every person in the world trying to sell them an individual plan to Todoist. Like, it's going to be all virtual. It's going to be self-service when you sign up, all of that stuff. B2B is a lot different. So for example, if you're a company and you're building a platform to help dealerships have better service for their vehicles, which is a great idea, by the way. You're going to be marketing to the businesses themselves, not to an individual. You're going to be helping the business help other businesses and their clients, right? So you're not directly touching on customers in any form or fashion. So in that case, your pool of your market gets much smaller. Instead of being like everyone in the freaking world, it's a handful of companies in this service industry. So you want to have a marketing strategy that's online, but also that's augmented by boots on the ground type stuff, where you're going to these big service stations and kind of advertise or demonstrating your product and giving them the standard type sales pitch to try to get them to sign up for things like that.
And with B2B, what's really interesting is that you said boots on the ground. It's not even just that you have an online marketing presence. It's that you need an explicit sales force to sort of get out there and talk to people and promote your product. So it seems like with B2B, it's not necessarily the tools you can use. You actually also need to have people who are out there selling your product.
Right, exactly. And so one of the best examples of B2B is AWS, which we talk about all the time. And AWS is huge. Now, we have gotten to the point where we talk to human beings at AWS and they market to us new products and stuff like that and have us beta test new products. But they are an exception where they've gotten so big that they do have huge sales forces, but their sales forces are going to, like, say, government agencies and Goldman Sachs and huge companies, trying to get them to use AWS for their business to serve other businesses. Companies the size of Gunner Technology don't usually have someone knocking at the office door telling them the benefits of AWS. Generally, they find out on their own through word of mouth or through online marketing. So you definitely need that sales force when there is a B2B component. But if you get big enough and you kind of stay streamlined enough, you can capture the long tail of the smaller companies without sending out dedicated workforces and biz dev teams to every single company.
And sticking with B2B for a second, and I guess just sort of talking about companies that are our size that are trying to do B2B marketing for internal products or for products that they built for other people. Since we're going through this process, what's sort of the best strategy for building out that sales force to market your product?
Well, the best thing to kind of sit back and realize is that what exactly you want your sales force to be doing. Because there's a lot of different components of business development. So marketing is a component of business development. Lead generation is a component of business development. Sales is a component of business development. Advertising is a component of business development. So you often don't think of those all in there. So you're like, oh, we'll just hire a biz dev team. Well, you may thinking in your mind a sales team, but that's different than a biz dev team. So you would have different components of your business development team. Like one component is in charge of marketing. One is in charge of generating leads. And this would be like, doing research to figure out what companies are in the market for your offering in terms of B2B. Advertising is actually spending money to create these advertisements wherever they may go. And then finally, the sales team, that's the team that's going to be trying to set an appointment and actually go there and meet with them. And honestly, to further break down business development, sometimes you have appointment setting. So you have lead generation, which is finding people that might be interested. Appointment setting, which is trying to set an appointment with the people that are interested, and then sales, which is actually having the meeting with people that are interested. So you got to keep that in mind. And when you're building out your biz dev team, is make sure that the people you're hiring know what their expectations are. Like you may, if you're a young company, you may try to hire someone who can do all of that. Good luck, because it's a wide skill set. Or you may be looking for someone who can you have leads, you have appointments, you just want this guy or gal who everyone likes. He's really friendly, she's really friendly, whatever, and can sell the heck out of your product. And that's all you want them to do. I just want you to go on these appointments that I'm creating and sell this to these businesses.
We've talked about the importance of metrics before with regards to sort of the effectiveness of your product, how many people are using it, how many users you have signed up, how often people are using the app. Talk about the importance of metrics as far as the actual sales force goes and the process of B2B marketing.
Yeah, well, the old saying is what gets measured gets approved. What gets measured gets improved, and what doesn't. So basically, you kind of have to track all of it. So in terms of lead generation, you need to track how many leads you're generating on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis. What percentage of those leads make it to having an appointment? What percentage of those who sign up for an appointment make it to an actual close? And then even backing it further up is when you're doing what's called pull marketing, so push marketing is when you call someone, you call them cold, and you're like, hey, this is Gunner Technology. We just want to tell you that you need our services, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to push them into a sale. So pull marketing is different, where kind of this podcast could be an example of pull marketing, because we're not directly selling to anyone, but someone may see this podcast and be like, oh, I like what those guys were saying. Let me reach out to them and see how they can help my company. That's an example of pull marketing.
They probably like our 30 days free too at the start of a business relationship. That's
a big boon. The 30 days free is always number one, skeptical, but always appreciated once it gets going. So that's a big one in terms of getting the leads in. So you have to track, in terms of pull marketing, where those leads are coming from. So when we get a lead, we want to know, why'd you call us? Oh, we heard your podcast. Oh, cool. Okay. Why'd you call us? Oh, well, we saw a video ad on LinkedIn and we clicked your website and then called you. A lot of that you can track automatically based on activity online. Like we can see if someone clicked our video ad on LinkedIn and then went to our website and clicked our contact form. But sometimes you have to ask, and it's a bear, and really it's a whole nother job in and of itself. I mean, a job for another person. Like you need someone who's like the czar of analytics, who can be like, we have a hole here. We don't know why this lead came in. We don't know how many people are actually calling us from from watching our podcast. Like, you need someone who owns that stuff and is really just hammering on the executive team to fill this data in. And it requires, a lot of times it requires development. You have to build that into the process. So the executive team could say, yes, it's important, and tell the product team, we need to build this into our marketing flows and things like that. And it gets really expansive really quickly. And Facebook and a lot of other advertising platforms try to make it as easy as you can to centralize the data. But it's not like you just turn it on and then you like have all these meaningful numbers kind of thing.
Well, that's actually an interesting segue to the B2C marketing, because almost like you said, you're sort of marketing to the entire world. So the tools that you use are, I mean, there's crossover, but largely you're going to be using these online services to target your marketing to specific demographics. So maybe just walk through sort of the landscape of, you know, the major marketing tools, the major online marketing tools, and how you can use them effectively for B2C marketing.
Yeah. So when you hear people say this all the time, that Facebook is selling users' data, and they're actually not. They're not actually selling the data. They're selling access to anonymized data, pretty much. And so what that means is, as an advertiser, and anyone can sign up to be an advertiser for Facebook, although they are cracking down on that a little bit in the wake of the whole Russia stuff. So anyone can sign up to be an advertiser, and you go in there, you go into it's called Facebook ads. You go into their ad manager and you create a campaign, and they have all these different types of campaigns, which are broken down into sets of ads. And then each ad set is broken down into ads. And then each ad is broken down into a creative. So it's actually, they make it sound easy, but it's complicated. There's a lot of steps involved. And so for a campaign, you pick a goal. Like, I want to raise brand awareness, or I want people to watch my video, or I want people to click links to my website, or I want people to buy my t-shirt. So the campaign is the goal level. And then you kind of get further down into how much are you willing to spend to reach your goal, things like that. And so how much are you willing to spend to reach your goal would be, I'm willing to pay $1.20 for every time someone clicks my link. So in that case, Facebook will run your ads, and every time someone clicks a link to your website, you're going to pay Facebook $1.20, or a maximum of $1.20. It could be less if there's not much competition for your demographic, which is exactly what you talked about. So finally, you choose who's going to see your ads in your campaign. And you do that by demographic and psychographic information. So you can say something like, I only show this ad to 24-year-olds, or only show this ad to 24-year-olds who live in Florida, or only show this ad to 24-year-olds who live in Florida and play PlayStation 4. So you can keep going as fine-grained as you want. The more fine-grained you go, the more you're going to pay per click, or per conversion, whatever your conversion is. So if you get really specific, and there's like, Facebook will tell you there's 10,000 people in your selected pool on Facebook, or there's 10 million. If you say show this ad to 24-year-olds, you're going to have like a pool of like 80 million people. But then if you go through all that stuff about Florida playing PS4, you're going to have like an audience of, say, 20,000 people. And generally speaking, the smaller your audience is, the more you pay for your advertisements, because you're targeting a more finely grained niche when you get that far down. And so also kind of what they offer is the ability to kind of what they call remarket. So you can say, hey, show this ad to anyone who is a small business owner. And so this ad may just be like a teaser ad, like, what is this platform? And maybe that person will click it, maybe they won't. But then what you can do is you can say, Facebook, show this ad to anyone who saw my previous ad, or anyone who clicked on my previous ad. So then it's small business owners who interacted with your previous ad. So they expressed some interest, or at least some curiosity, when they saw your brand awareness ad. And now you're trying to take them that next step. So after brand awareness, it's generally visiting your site or clicking to learn more. So that's basically, you create a funnel where you go from a potential market of 80 million and you keep filtering it down to get smaller and smaller to the point where that last step is like pick up the phone and call you or shoot you an email and say, hey, let's work together. But in the case of like a B2C, the last step would be like create an account.
Sign up
so
for the service.
Yeah, exactly. It can be completely automated. So in the case of B2C, you're advertising like your, say your new iPhone game to like anyone who plays games on their iPhone. So it's a huge swath of people. And then you create another ad which says, hey, Facebook, anyone who from my previous ad engaged that ad, show this ad. And anyone who then clicked on that ad, show them this ad. And maybe that like you start by getting more and more interest by saying, if it's like a free to play game, you can show them the ad to get them interested and then say, hey, get 10 tokens when you sign up today. And then if they still don't sign up, get 20 free tokens if you sign up today. And you're trying to whittle it down and move them closer to the point where they actually sign up for your product or game.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk more about funneling, but before we do, we actually had a question. And actually, speaking of 24-year-olds who play PS4, it's actually my sister's 24th birthday today. So happy birthday, Carrie.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird number to pick. But anyways, the question online is, do you have to be a business to sign up for a Facebook's ad account, or can I do it as an individual user?
So you can do it as an individual user. What they encourage you to do is have a Facebook page, but you don't even have to have a Facebook page. So the answer is you can just do it as an individual user. You don't have to have even, I don't even think you have to have a Facebook account to be a Facebook advertiser.
Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. Getting back to the funneling aspect, though, talk about the tools. This would be easier as a demo because Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, they all do it differently, but MailChimp for that matter. Talk about how you actually funnel users from sort of that initial interest down to I'm signing up for an account, I'm contacting you to do some business with you. What are the steps there?
Yeah, so basically, generally it all involves using cookies, which I'm sure everyone's heard of on your computer. So, like for example, Facebook is a closed system. So I can't say to Google AdWords, I can't create an ad on Google AdWords and say, Google, show this ad to anyone who expressed interest on Facebook, right? I can't do that. What I can do is I can integrate with Facebook, who will send me that information when someone actually engages with my platform. So like if I'm collecting an email address, that's a heavy level of engagement. But let's say my ad is asking for their email address. I can save that email address and add it to a contact list that then goes into Google AdWords, and then use Google AdWords to advertise to only people on this emailing list. So generally in the case of B2C, you're not going to be asking for someone's email address in part of the funneling process. You kind of do after they sign up, because then you want to continue to market to them for like sales and stuff like that. But in the terms of B2B, what you could do is, again, awareness. The person shows awareness, and again, that showing awareness could be liking your ad, it could be liking your page, it could be commenting on the ad. If we're talking about Facebook, it could be any sort of engagement. So then you move them to, say, clicking a link. So then you want to get them to click a link, and when they click that link, a form opens up that's asking them for their email address for whatever. Usually you try to give away something in return, in return for an email address. So, hey, do you want our free white paper on how to be an entrepreneur? Awesome. Just type in your email address and we'll email you a copy of our entrepreneurial white paper. But what you're doing is you're capturing their email address. So then that's your way of knowing that they expressed interest in what you do, that they were willing to give you their email address in return for learning more information. So then again, then you move that email address into your wider net of market. So you can put this email address in a central repository. And like, let's say you got that email address from your entrepreneur campaign. So you can tag that email address as belonging to an entrepreneur. So you can put in a central repository of all your email addresses, and then you can break it down on other networks. So like if you want to use MailChimp to send a giant email blast to entrepreneurs, you can then add that email that you just captured into that database and kind of spread it from there. And that's how you kind of share data. The cookies is the same thing, right? Like when one of the most popular things to do is remarket based on visits. So you can say, hey, Facebook, show anyone who's visited my homepage in the last 30 days, this advertisement to click to my contact form. And so what Facebook asks you to do is Facebook says, all right, great. Just put this little snippet of code on your website and then we'll take care of the rest. And they all do that. LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, MailChimp, they all have this concept of little snippet of code that you put on your website. And that's their ability to track the cookie of their visitor back to their system. So then Facebook sends the information back to their system and they know that you went to my website and you visited the homepage based on this little snippet of code we put on ours. So then Facebook starts, okay, this is a hit. This person has been to the page, been to the homepage in the last 30 days. Let's start showing them this advertisement.
And talk about, I mean, there's so much tracking going on. And I think, especially with GDPR, people are sort of realizing how ubiquitous cookies are on the sites that they use. But talk about the effectiveness of these ads, because I think sort of the reason that Facebook is worth what it's worth is because these ads really are effective. Like the efficacy of these ads are sort of off the charts. And especially, like, I know AdWords was sort of built as one of those 20% projects, but it's sort of proven to be the biggest moneymaker for Google. So how effective are these ads in actually drumming up business?
It's weird, right? Because they can be either extraordinarily ineffective or extremely effective. And it just depends on...
Does that sort of come down to how well you're targeting your market, how good your ads are?
Exactly. And how good your process is. Like, for example, you can just get up and running with a click campaign very quickly where you're paying to get clicks. But like, let's say you're not creating the right pool of people. You're going to get a whole bunch of people clicking your ad to go to your site, but they're not going to be interested at all. So you're just wasting money on those clicks. So people get frustrated really quickly and they quit. Oh, I got some clicks from AdWords, but it was all junk. I never got one customer, nothing. I got nothing. Well, that's because it's tricky. It's not easy. There's teams of people, and Google and Facebook make it out like it's easy. It is not easy. They just want you to spend money. So they'll tell you it's easy, and they'll show you a great demo that makes it look easy, but it's really not. It's actually extraordinarily complicated, and you have to have really good funnels in place and targeting in place to make it effective. If you have those, it can be extraordinarily effective, and it's more. There's a there's a phrase for this, but it's more like if you don't do it, like, good luck to you. Like, it's like the price of admission in some respects to have any visibility on these platforms. So you can have a Facebook page and just go completely organic where you're just posting pictures of your business and telling people that you have a sale and stuff like that. But if you're not paying, good luck to you. It might as well be like a piece of salt in the ocean at that point.
Right.
So,
right. And how much of that is bringing people on who are experts at this, and how much of it is sort of A/B testing your ads and figuring it out yourself? Or I guess it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you throw A/B testing into it, then you're getting really complex because, again, Google, Facebook, they make it sound so easy to create an A/B test. It's really not. It's not, especially if you have to be changing your website for an A and a B. So it's really not easy. And I mean, the thing is, we used to do this for other companies, and we stopped doing it. We stopped doing the marketing aspect. We still build marketing tools, but we don't like do marketing consultation anymore because it's such like a thankless job. Because what I said, it's like the price of admission, and no one wants to hear they're going to have to spend money for 6 months and see pretty much no return on that investment. Like, and that's what I tell everyone: plan on just having a 6-month runway where you're going to spend money and see nothing in return. That's like how you get in the game. That's like getting into the arena is 6 months and depending on your industry, X amount of money per month. And usually it's a significant amount of money. Like I would say at the very, very least, plan on spending $1,000 per platform per month for 6 months. So if you're going to be
that's actually something we've talked about too. It's sort of maybe a good point to end on, is trying to figure out the budget for development versus the budget for marketing. And we sort of always try and push people to make sure that they have enough money for marketing, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to get your product off the ground. You can have the best product in the world. If nobody knows it's out there, nothing's ever going to come of it. So $1,000 a month is really the low end. I mean, you have to be willing to spend a decent chunk of money to get enough, especially with products that we talked about the chicken and the egg problem, where the product's awesome if you have enough users, but nobody's going to use it until there are enough users, kind of thing. So I guess talk about the strategy there as far as making sure that you have enough capital in reserve to be able to market your product effectively.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to point out one other thing. Often we hear someone will say, well, I have a buddy, or I know someone on Instagram, he's got 1 million followers, so I'll have him blast this out.
It's key influencers.
And it's not effective. It's not effective. It's very easy to get 1 million followers these days, and just sending out one message, every week or so is just not going to move the needle. So, and the funny thing is now influencers get paid to hawk your products.
Oh yeah.
So you're competing against other people. And I mean,
they make a ton of money, those key influencers, from just hawking products.
Oh my gosh, totally. And I mean, I've never bought anything from an influencer's opinion, so I don't get it. I've never
seen an influencer's
opinion. Anyway, I'm sorry. What was the original question before I got off?
The original question was sort of how do you divide your budget up? Because I mean, obviously, there's going to be a finite amount that folks are going to have, and it's obviously different with B2B versus B2C. Because if you're talking B2B, if you have 1, 2, 3 companies who have expressed interest to you, and you're building a product sort of for them to use, that's a lot easier. But with B2C, budgets are finite. So how do you sort of determine what portion of the budget goes to building the product versus how much you want to reserve when it's done to be able to market the product effectively?
Yeah, and our kind of cautionary tale is a minimum of 50 or minimum of 100% match on your development budget. That's kind of our rule of thumb. So whatever you're going to spend on development, plan on at least spending that much on marketing to get it off the ground. And there's really no shortcuts. I mean, everyone says, well, what if I do this? I mean, there's no shortcuts. There's a chance you can catch lightning in a bottle, but I wouldn't leave my company's chances up to a lottery ticket kind of thing. And so when you're spending on development, like if you say, here's our budget, I have $100,000 budget to get this platform to V1 to get out there and get users and whatever. And you're like, great. And you're starting to get to that $50,000 range, and you're still like tinkering around and adding features. You need to stop and start marketing. Like that's kind of the rule of thumb, is like, don't, we say this all the time, don't try to get to perfection on your product. Get your product functional and interesting, and then market it.
Yeah, I think stop and start marketing is sort of the phrase of the day. And it's probably a good place to leave it, because this is already running long, but I think that just sort of shows the importance of marketing in terms of making your product a success. It really is of the utmost importance. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Gunner Technology Livestream. Make sure to check us out next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Hop on our Facebook page and sign up for the Country Store giveaway. Country Store is a lifestyle brand for anyone who loves the outdoors. You can visit them at countrystoreoutfitters.com. While you're on our Facebook page, answer our question of the week, which for next week, what is the question of the week, Cody?
Have you, or do you plan on buying anything you would consider a techie gift for someone this year? And if so, what? Really
curious to see what people are buying. Check out the blog post for this episode at gunnertech.com. Check out the podcast on iTunes. Our ebooks are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, Kobo, and anywhere else ebooks are sold. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Check us out next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm Derry. That's Cody. We'll see you next week.